That's Jumoke, that we were here. My name is Banji Busari. It's a fresh edition and it promises to be very exciting. You're welcome.
All right, so on the first edition of this program, first segment of this program today, we'll be looking at the issue of insecurity, and we'll be linking it with the 2023 elections. And on the second segment of the program, we'll be showing you a package showcasing the giant strides that the governor of Lagos, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, has taken in the education sector. That will come after the discussion this morning. We welcome you. All right, and joining us to talk about insecurity and 2023 elections, we have Mr. Jide Ologun here with us in the studio. He's an attorney at law. He's a public affairs analyst, and he's something. I will not mention it. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you very much.
If you want to read out
we discovered
intimidating profile.
We discovered a new side to him.
Long, intimidating profile for our guest. That will take you 2 hours.
Yeah. So we went
This program would have been over. So you're welcome, sir.
Thank you very much.
Well, there are growing concerns about the security situations in the country. Of course, the concerns have been with us. But this time around, the growing concern is about the forthcoming 2023 elections. We are aware that the Osun elections, Ekiti elections, recorded probably very, very low scale when it comes to violence and all that. But when you talk about the national election, that's the one that involves everybody. Ekiti and Osun had the advantage of having the highest number of police security personnel generally, army, police, and all of that. But when it comes to national election, all this advantage may not be available for us as a nation. Now, the growing concerns about trying to eliminate apathy. Now, no one wants to come out when his security is not assured. Just like investors will not come to a nation when the security is threatened. When their security is threatened. Now, for the coming elections, these growing concerns, let me start by asking you, is it misplaced concern or genuine concerns?
It is not misplaced in the sense that when you have chronic insecurity, like you said, apart from the apathy, the elections may not even hold. And this has been troubling the minds of some Nigerians. But I'm here to say that if the federal government wants that election to hold, it will hold. You recall that this is not our first time of having insecurity challenges, even though it's getting worse. But towards the 2019 election, somehow, these things started calming down because the politicians needed to come out to make new promises and earn the votes of the people. And after the election, it escalated. And that is why some are in the school of thought that some high-profile personalities who have influence over the insecurity in this country may be involved in the insecurity. So if the government wants elections, there will be elections. If they don't want it, they will just fold their arms, watch these guys heat up the politics so much that the elections may not even hold at all. And don't forget that right here in the studio, we have discussed some suggestions ahead of the election. Some are already called for interim government, some have called for this and that. But my personal advice is that for a country that is over 60 years of age, in terms of political independence, I think it's a shame if by now we have not been able to have a brilliant showcase of our democracy profile to the world. And in the course of our dialogue this morning, we want to take our minds back to some revelations that may help us understand better the kind of insecurity we have in this country, and also help those who can help us if they want to help us. For example, you recall the statement of Abubakar Kawu Baraje, who said, pointedly, that bandits were brought into Nigeria from the Niger Republic, from Sierra Leone, from Chad, and some neighboring countries towards making the country ungovernable if the elections were lost in 2015. You see, but that somehow the former president, the immediate past president, Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, conceded victory to the opposition party. But the bandits they imported did not return to their base. And the politicians turned their back at the bandits. And bandits must operate, they must have a living. That is one story. At the time, the former deputy governor of Central Bank, Obadiah Malefia, also came out to say a similar thing. And that, right now we are plagued by different kinds of miscreants terrorizing the land. And again, don't forget that at the time, our president with the Minister of Interior also declared in Egypt that immigrants were welcome from Africa to Nigeria to obtain visa on arrival. So right now, if you see the infiltration in Nigeria that is hitting up the polity, you may understand where it started from. And again, locally speaking, because when you talk about terrorism, you have the left wing, you have the right wing. On the left wing, you have the international organizations like the Al-Qaeda, ISIS, all of them. The right wing, the local one like Boko Haram, that started in Borno State, though now graduating to Islamic States of West Africa in Borno State around 2002. But they have successfully groomed terrorists and dispersed them by their crimes and things just to push them out and pushing them to all parts of the country now. And today, we are reading about killings, unknown gunmen in Southeast. You recall the war attack, different kinds of violence across the country. And that has not in any way exonerated the mandate in Section 14, subsection 2B of the Nigerian Constitution, 1999, as amended, that says that security and the welfare of the people shall be the primary purpose of government. And most recently, these terrorists have been so bold enough to attack some parts of the Federal Capital Territory, even issuing a threat to kidnap my president and commander-in-chief of the armed forces and one of the governors in the north, talking about Governor El-Rufai. And now the National Assembly is rising up to say, if this is the case, we need to start an impeachment movement, to ensure that the trajectory is reversed. So by and large, if the current insecurity in the nation and the threat that have been rolled out are sustained, it may be a threat to the 2023 elections, either in a way of creating a strong apathy that will keep many away from voting, or even make the people themselves to revolt, or canceling the elections. But my prayer for Nigeria is that we are given the opportunity to vote so that we can begin to move in the right direction in this country. And I have this to encourage everyone. No war takes away everybody. So whatever we are passing through in Nigeria now, may God keep us alive to witness a new season like Rwanda can really testify of a new season, so this is where we are right now.
All right, so you talked about the National Assembly rising to the occasion when it looked like these threats were beginning to go out of hand. Would you say that their threat for an impeachment is actually what is
yielding
some kind of result, even though it's not so huge, but then we are seeing some results here and there. Even in Abuja, we hear that the forests have been combed and some hideouts, some kidnapper cells and all that have been cleared away. The attackers have been, some of them have been arrested and all that, at least some spots of successes. Would you say that's why?
Absolutely, I quite agree with that. And that takes me back to the grand norm in the nation. the Constitution, Section 4 of the Nigerian Constitution 1999 as amended says that the National Assembly shall make laws for the peace, order, and good governance of Nigeria. And when these laws are made, they have the oversight responsibility to ensure that the laws are implemented by the executive arm. That is why you have the judiciary to also interpret. So if right now the National Assembly is rising up to say, hey, Chief Executive Officer, you must ensure security in this land or else we impeach you, because that provision of impeachment is in the Constitution, though I know that it takes nothing less than 3 months in a normal situation, and that is like trying to move a camel through the eye of the needle. So it may be a difficult one, but at least prop this government to rise up to the occasion, particularly when someone like Governor El-Rufai disclosed that they may be in touch with these bandits, however you choose to describe them, that they communicate, they know where they are. But you give excuses of how you cannot go after, why you cannot go after them. Yeah. You see, a train was attacked between Abuja and Kaduna. Many were killed, many held hostage. Until date, we cannot claim to have arrested 3 of those who carried out that ugly attack, even though some of the victims recounted their experiences that can provide intelligence report for the action of the government. So we came to a point where it appears the government was numb. We must appreciate the efforts, but it turned out to be like just rolling out warnings and warnings. And if we have 109 senators, 360 House of Reps members that are representing us in the National Assembly, then they should ensure that we are at liberty. But like I said earlier, we have been calling for this a long time, that exercise your representative power in favor of the people. But at that point in time, Abuja was a safe citadel. You know, the criminals were far away. But suddenly, they started seeing grenade launchers, anti-aircraft, operations within the Federal Capital Territory. And they are now waking up. We all need security. If you look at the impact of insecurity on a nation, preventing education, running down the economy, launching people into hardship, promoting corruption, I mean, you must be worried. I did a search on the safest countries of the world. And when you read about them, little wonder why they are prosperous. It is led by Iceland. Iceland does not even have a military. The policemen don't use weapons. They only use extended baton. Even though they have little population. You talk about Portugal, you talk about New Zealand, you talk about Norway, you talk about Sweden. There's a country that imports prisoners to run their correctional facility because the crime rate is low. So look at where we are now. People are afraid, agitated to travel by road or by air or by rail. So what happens to the infrastructure we have claimed to have spent so much in putting together? The superstructures that are criminally minded are frustrating the enjoyment of the infrastructure. And that's why we need to refocus as a nation. And if we have a president and commander-in-chief that we have entrusted with ensuring the security of lives and properties, then he must be seen to be active in delivering on that beyond just the verbal warnings that we hear.
Yeah, that's one of the issues where the people are actually agitated about, because the results on ground now does not match all the security spendings. Like the Chief of Defense Staff is saying that government should jettison the idea of bringing in mercenaries to help fight these insecurity, that the monies they would use to pay for this these mercenaries could be used to be invested into getting more equipment for the military. Meanwhile, we have year after year so many monies budgeted for these people, and then the results does not in any way correspond to what is being spent.
Time will reveal. But I may just say this personally, that for all those who are responsible for the insecurity of the country, either by dealing corruptly with the resources allotted for security, that they will be judged by God, whether they like it or not. And I believe there will be a lot of stories we read about later. I said it at a time that when Abacha was the military head of state, nobody could dare him, but we have not even finished recovering what he looted. You see, so that there is corruption in Nigeria is not something you can argue against. We bought the Tucano jet, we have changed the service chiefs, but above all, we need to look at the line of command. How can we position the president and the commander-in-chief of the armed forces? I mean, and right now you permit me to speak under the immunity of analysis and step into maybe a Harvard Business School classroom to evaluate the situation. This is my president who said in 2013 that clamp down on Boko Haram is injustice to the North. So has he changed his mind since he became president? He said on the assumption of office that Boko Haram has been technically defeated. You see, these are weighty statements. You see? So I said earlier, he's the one who said, knowing the volatility of the country, that immigrants were welcome from Africa to obtain visa on arrival. Many of them came in. The Nigerian Immigration Service started registering some of them as citizens. In fact, at a time, a former chief of army staff said about 90% of those terrorizing Nigeria are Nigerians because they haven't registered. We have had several statements. Sheikh Gumi went in there into the forest to take photographs with highly equipped personalities. Recently, BBC did a documentary. The government is fighting that documentary, revealing the faces of some of the key players. Recently, a troublesome bandit was banned in this country. So when you put all this together, then you want to sit back and ask yourself exactly that all these threats of go and quell them, go and do this, are they genuine? And that is where we are. But whether they are genuine or not, the unique feature of the present system of government we have in Nigeria is the National Assembly. It's so powerful. So powerful. But here we are. What is affecting the gate man is threatening to affect the big man in the bedroom. So I believe that right now, stakeholders will rise up to say, we need a secure Nigeria because the toll is enormous.
Yes, the toll is enormous, and if you look at the volume of registration, the youth involvement in the registration this time around has quadrupled. So we're expecting huge number of voters come 2023. Now, there has always been a talk about inadequacy of our security personnel to the population. If going by this the surge in registration, we have very long list of voters, even in the rural areas, hamlets and all that. Do you think we have the capacity? You've spoken about capacity several times on this program. Do you think we have the capacity to man it, matching it with this increasing number of attacks, spreading even to the southwest, to the southeast, and everywhere? Do you think we have the capacity? We have the capacity if we want to deploy the capacity.
The money made available to INEC is in billions of naira.
INEC has nothing to do with security. INEC is not taking care of security.
They do. You can call for security.
INEC does not get itself concerned with security.
Then that should be a joke. It's like a bank saying, I need to move 300 million naira from one branch in Ajegunle to another branch in Ikeja. I don't need security. I mean, that is a joke.
No, the INEC relies on the security architecture of this country to provide with the backup
when you talk
for its operations.
The government structure, it is systemic. It is about collaboration. You know what I mean? You find in the team of the president himself, you find soldiers there, you find Air Force officers, you find, different, because there must be security. So INEC must have the support to ensure security. If not, why do we deploy hundreds of, thousands of policemen to Anambra State for election, to Osun State, to Ekiti State? I am saying the capacity is there. When you look at the pattern of voting, the verification...
Those ones are staggered elections. So they have the capacity. They can, of course, deploy thousands. Because others...
My name is Olajide Agbola Ologun, and I have not repented from saying this country has capacity. Whether the capacity will be deployed is a different thing, and for what purpose, it's another issue. We've had this. We have invested in these things, equipment, but will we allow them work? Sir, you don't need to knock your head on the wall to operate your ATM card engagement. We have the BVN system, but we just create unnecessary difficulties. Look at national identity number procurement. And that's what I mean by capacity. The IT is there, those who are willing to assist. Look at the mobilization going on amongst the youth without even requesting for money from any candidate right now. The youth of this country can be engaged. Let's make things work. There was an election in the UK sometimes ago. Nobody heard about the BBBB. Some people do not know now that Merkel is no longer the chancellor in Germany. There was an election. Nigeria has capacity. But will we allow the capacity to operate? That's what we are saying. If we want things to run smoothly, things will run smoothly. I have asked these questions over and over. How was Nnamdi Kanu brought back to Nigeria? What kind of intelligence? How was Igboho held down in Benin Republic and could not escape? What kind of capacity? How was the leader of Shiite, El Zazaki, pinned down by this government? So, I mean, it's no rocket science. If someone wanted to work, it will work. Some major parties have carried out their primaries. We saw capacity. There is capacity. I believe in the Nigerian police. I believe in the military. I believe in this. But do some people, some power brokers, want these things to operate? If you go to the Nigerian port, our ports, at a time the government invested in IT facilities to fast track the clearing of goods. But do they allow those things to work?
Do you foresee a situation whereby we may need more military? Of course, we have militarized our elections. Do you foresee a situation where we'll probably need to upscale in terms of militarizing our elections come 2023?
If the government is not decisive about restoring security, why not? And that again is a dent, because when you find people who monitor your peace and security index, having a highly militarized society scores you low. I just told us, and you can go and check a content analysis, Iceland has no military. The police don't use weapons. They use extended battle, at least just to carry something. And I think Portugal and some other countries like that. So, because if you look at what we are spending on fighting, struggling after insecurity, it's a shame. We've spent more than enough needed to settle ASU and let students go back to school, train their minds to add value to society and not be injurious to the society. So we need a new prioritization. You need to prioritize again. You need a restoration. You need a new beginning for this country. You see, and there are people willing to help. Some young ones are not even demanding for money. They can set up applications. I mean,
there's a Nigerian guy now that said he can build the drone that they can deploy in this fight against
but in the same vein, you will hear some reports, I have heard some, that the federal government will ban the use of drone to even monitor some environments. I mean, what are we talking about? I have said it about 4 times. If this country is ready to solve the electricity problem in this country, we know the people, by the grace of God, we can invite to invest in electricity. But do some people want it resolved? That is the problem of Nigeria. But we know that time is superior to man. With time, the elements that are holding this nation down will fade away. And maybe a new blood will flow in to begin to reposition this country on the path of prosperity. And we have the Rwandan experience, because it's so disturbing. I mean, we appreciate all their efforts, but see, in the boardroom, you don't reward people for efforts. You reward them for results.
All right. Thank you so much, sir. I know you want to go on, but we have something else to do. So we need to.
Yes, just your last word on this. The election will come. I am optimistic that election will, against the petitions of some people. What are the do's for us, even the electorate?
Please, electorate, vote for yourself. And when I mean that, secure your future, don't mortgage your future. Vote your conscience, because that is a power that you have. And we wish Nigeria the best. This is a land flowing with milk and honey. And it's my prayer that Nigeria will join the league of prosperous nations, safe nations, and nations that are doing very well and can really be proud to be one of, and join the league of developed countries. Those are my prayers.
Thank you very much.
Nigeria.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. All right, so we've been talking with Mr. Jide Ologun, and we'll transit to the next package we have on the program today, talking about Lagos State, featuring the education sector, what has been happening in that sector, the developmental strides that have been evident in that sector in Lagos State. And then we'll return back to the studio to tell you goodbye. But meanwhile, let's watch this package.
The process of facilitating acquisition of knowledge, skills, values, and beliefs lie majorly in education. Thus, there is the need to make the education sector of the state become second to none in terms of standard. The impact will go a long way to determining the strength of the state, which is obvious in the quality of the population it has. Every child deserves quality education that prepares him or her for a healthy, productive, and bright future. It is therefore pertinent to learning environment to be conducive for both the students and teachers, irrespective of their social standing. Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu, in his campaign manifesto, emphasized the importance of education and technology and the massive investments that would go into the sector. This, as captured by the third pillar of the theme's agenda, is to enable teachers pass world-class knowledge to the students such that they would be able to compete easily in every sphere of life. The education policies and programs of Lagos State are all-inclusive. It seeks to foster quality in the system structure, infrastructure, and eventual output of the schools, irrespective of whether they are owned by the government or by private individuals or organizations. A well-structured learning and teaching environment for both students and teachers would make them perform beyond expectation. In acknowledgement of this, Mr. Governor, having approved the rehabilitation and renovation of 300 public schools, also set up a special committee for the rehabilitation of public schools. This committee is saddled with the responsibility of transforming and upgrading education infrastructure in public schools.
What is Carica papaya? Yes. Carica papaya. So Carica papaya is purple. Clap for me now. So they're going to teach you the names of the plants and their botanical names. You know, that's how we learn. But you know, this is Lagos, there's not a lot of, who knows how to farm here? All of you can farm? Yeah. Okay, so that's a future for us, okay? So let's face it very well, okay? I just want to go around. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
The government constructed new blocks of classrooms, hostels and watchtowers in 29 schools spread across the 5 divisions of the state. These schools include Badagry Grammar School, Ekpe Grammar School, Eva Adelaja Memorial School, Shomolu, Alagbada Junior Grammar School, Alimosho, and Ijayi Housing Estate Senior Grammar School, Ifako Ijayi, among others. Still on transformation of the education sector, the Lagos State government, through Project 350 and Access to Knowledge, upgraded and equipped Ajayi Crowther Memorial Senior Grammar School with books and modern ICT infrastructure. Project 350 is aimed at equipping all Lagos State schools with functional library services and modern infrastructure. So far, the administration has supplied some schools with 60,000 units of desks and benches for the pupils and students. Their teachers were not left out as chairs and tables were distributed for their use. About 100 units of furniture are still under construction and will be distributed soonest. To improve the competence of the teachers, the administration introduced a Core Excel, an acronym for Excellence in Child Education and Learning. The program is geared towards upgrading teacher skills in the use of technology, which would complement the traditional way of teaching and bring about the best in the students. Over 14,000 teachers across the states benefited from this unprecedented training.
It is part of the commitment of the state government to continually improve the skill of the teachers. We want to be globally competitive, and in order for us to do that, our teacher must also be globally competitive. they must possess the necessary skill, the required skill to make them, competitive. That is the essence of the EcoExcel that we are doing.
The governor's presence at the EcoExcel Training Center, where teachers were being trained, showed the importance placed on education and was an assurance to the teachers that gone were those days when teachers' reward were in heaven. In this present administration, teachers are being catered for as they, in return, are expected to make great impact in the lives of the students.
EcoExcel is to take into consideration all the teaching and learning aspects to be able to get the result we are looking for. We are going to consider the academic aspect of it. We are going to consider the behavioral aspect of it, and equally we are going to do the practical aspect. If you link all these three, you will see that they are similar to the three domains of learning, which has to do with the cognitive, the mental aspect of it. You have to look at the affective, which has to do with the emotions, behavior, attitude, and all that. How to make your pupil street smart, how to make them to be security conscious. Those are the aspects we are looking at when we talked about effective domain of teaching. Then you look at the psychomotor. The psychomotor has to do with using the whole body, the practical aspect of learning. You use your head, you use your heart, and you use your hand to learn. You understand? These are the things EcoExcel intend to do, leveraging on technology.
Before I arrived here, I was even thinking that with this program, this policy, is it going to work? But after, some days into the program, I could now see that Lagos State is going towards excellency. That in the next couple of years, the performances of primary school pupils with this policy, with this program, is going to be increased tremendously. And that will transform into the secondary school and the ultimate to the university.
Going through all these processes, it will change Lagos to be a better state.
This program really is just to curb the lateness, the transit, and laziness. Then to be up and doing in the classrooms, because we are in a dynamic world now. We need at least to move with the latest trend of teaching and learning in the classroom.
EcoExcel is too much. I've learned a lot. The first thing is that EcoExcel taught us how to be a good coach, in a way that we can be able to coach teachers, coach pupils, and lift the community, and even Lagos State as a whole.
The teacher was so excited, and you can see the enthusiasm in them. They love it, and they are eager to return to their classes to impart the knowledge they have learned in this training to their kids.
As a way of appreciating the efforts of the teachers and motivating them to do more, the governor has promised the gift of a car to each best head teacher in the 20 local government and 37 local council development areas. This is meant to encourage others to imbibe good qualities identified in the beneficiaries and be at their best in the delivery of quality education to the children. Prior to this training, there was a recruitment exercise that brought 3,000 teachers on board to reduce the workload of the existing teachers and balance the students to teachers ratio. This was also to ensure that there are sufficient teachers in both primary and post-primary schools for better delivery of qualitative education to the school-age populace.
The academic calendar of the schools, we have to break them into batches. You understand? The first phase has just been concluded. That's about 2,400. We are training another 2,400 now. During the long vacation, we will train additional 4,000 or 5,000 to ensure that we cover all the teachers in the state.
In continued efforts to upskill teachers' skills, an online digital training program was organized for the post-primary school teachers on grade level 8 to 13. This training has helped to improve their skills and transform the post-primary teaching service personnel into a smart workforce.
We've been able to train 2,400, the first batch, and we are doing another 2,500 presently. And the ultimate, I have said, is to train all the teachers in the state.
To drive the education sector with technology, the present administration has organized the Art of Technology Lagos 1.0 and launched 250 million seed capital for tech startups. This is to be managed by the Lagos State Science Research and Innovation Council.
Technology has redefined the way we live and think. Indeed, it is the bedrock of social integration and harmony because of its multiple applications to solve or enhance the act of living itself. We have provided more opportunity for our children in the public primary and secondary school to acquire ICT through exposure to coding. There are many opportunities available for the development of software that can transform the way we see, do, or think about our activity. The Act of Technology 1.0 will open the window for ideas, concepts, and principles buried in the creative recess of our people to break out and transform the landscape.
For students to be kept abreast of the demands of the 21st century, the government organized the annual Science Camp program to enhance their creative and innovative skills.
This program is to expose them to opportunities that may not be available in the classroom. We are training 300 students over the next 5 days to explore science, to do experiments, to work in groups, to collaborate, and learn more about STEM education.
In terms of collaborating with other students, this STEM really helped me. I've seen that since yesterday that we have been in this place, we have been shared into a group and we have shared ideas now to bring things out of us.
They gave us timetable of what we will do, like they gave us the timetable for what we will do. Like in the morning, we'll wake up 5 o'clock, we'll go and pray. After that, we'll jog, breakfast, and some other things to do. They'll train us on some things.
My impression about the program is that it's very educative, it's informative, and if we can attend this program successfully, when we go back to our various schools, as far as you are very serious with this program, you would have learned a lot, and you will even teach your peers. They are teaching us about technology, like what we can use technology to do in this 24th century. Now that we are in the 21st century, we need technology. Technology makes things easier. So they are improving us on technology because we are the leaders of tomorrow.
It is no longer new that reading culture has really dropped to a minimal level among students. Consequently, the Lagos State government, through the Office of Education Quality Assurance, has introduced a program tagged Read Aloud Lagos, an initiative meant to create and stimulate the interest of school children in reading. Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu personally led the initiative as he also participated in reading for the children.
Let me just flip through and read one new book that just fell into my hands by a Nigerian lady, Olubunmi Talabi, and it's very, very important given what we're doing now. The book is titled, Why Do You Wash Your Hands? Children, you can imagine. So the book is titled, Why Do You Wash Your Hands? So we'll just flip through very quickly, and I will just share a few of the thoughts as we go along, and I'll read them with you. So it's a concept, children, of a mom, her daughter, and a little girl, right? And so the daughter was asking her mom, Mama, why do we wash our hands? And the mom, typical mothers, answered, I said, I wash my hands to remove dirt and germs. Germs make people sick. So the little girl asked, when should I wash my hands, Mama? And so she called all the other children around. Children, come and tell your sister when you should wash your hands. So I have the first picture here, which shows that she's in a bathroom. After you use the toilet, you need to wash your hands. So children, after using the bathroom, you need to wash your hands. The next page. After you play outside with your friends, with your neighbors, you need to wash your hands. And the next one, after you play with your pets, maybe you have a dog as a pet or you have a cat, whatever it is that you have as a pet, you need to wash your hands after playing with your pets.
The high premium placed on quality education is evident in the free registration of all Senior Secondary 3 students in public schools for West African Examination Certificate, WAEC. About 322 senior secondary schools were covered and a total number of 47,804 candidates benefited from the laudable initiative. For better monitoring of schools' activities, the Lagos State Government has deemed it necessary to equip the Basic Quality Assurance Department for improved performance. 2 vehicles were given to the department to facilitate the movement of its officials in the course of discharging their duties. Office support equipment were also provided, among others. Aware of the important role nutrition plays in the physical and intellectual growth of a child, the present administration, through the Office of Civic Engagement and Ministry of Education, carried out a pilot program tagged Snacks for Thought, an idea developed to complement the federal government's school feeding program. This initiative helped to improve nutrition and well-being of pupils, leading to increased attendance in schools.
It has been very, very great. The children are very, very happy. They don't even want to wait at home to eat their breakfast before coming to the school, because the snacks is very, very healthy with protein drink. So it's a very, very good initiative.
Beyond just giving them food, this would also help them have that subconsciousness in their minds that it's very important to volunteer. I do not believe that the government alone can do it on their own. Individuals would also have to take on civic responsibility, as I would like to call it, to come out and help improve their society and their community. And I think that's what we're doing here. And I think that's how it's going to help the children as well.
The parents too, since Monday, some of them have been asking that, is it the school that is giving them this food or the governor? So, and the explanation has been given to them that this is from the governor.
I want to appreciate Mr. Governor. Thank you for giving us snacks in this world. God bless you.
Determined to make nutritional diets available for school children, the homegrown school feeding program was not interrupted even in the face of COVID-19 pandemic that resulted in school closure. The present administration, through the State Universal Basic Education Board, SUBEB, continued to distribute foods to the homes of children in order to enhance their diets and health.
We have done some pre-identification of the household. We have done eligibility verification and review of all the household. We made some collateral contact to ensure that they live in those houses. We have our data, we match it with the information we got on the field, and we are starting today and we are satisfied with the program.
In spite of the scourge of the pandemic on every sphere of the economy, Governor Sanwo-Olu did not relent in his efforts to deliver quality education to children. Alternative learning platforms such as online, television and radio stations were put in place to bridge the vacuum created by school closure and to ensure the primary school and post-primary school children are engaged in normal academic activities even at home. To whom much is given, much is expected. Having embarked on the training of teachers and rehabilitation of schools, teachers are expected to be committed and dedicated to their works. If these school children, most especially the ones in basic classes, are given a solid foundation, it would be much easier to go through post-primary school up to the tertiary institution.
The governor is so passionate, and committed when it comes to the issue of education. Like we all know that education is the foundation upon which all structures are built. If we get it right from the basic education, it means that we have gotten it, the right way. And we all know, that it is one of the pillars in the team's agenda of the government.
As the saying goes, no man is an island. Government alone cannot provide education for the teeming populace. All stakeholders in the education sector are thus enjoined to cooperate with the government to give the children the kind of education they deserve, not minding their school standing. Government has started promoting this understanding with the organization of the 2020 Education Public-Private Partnership Dialogue, an initiative that brought all stakeholders together to enhance the quality of education in the state.
To assure all of you that for us and for the sector, it's critical to us. It's not just critical to us that we mentioned that on our economic agenda is the third point, which is education and technology. It's critical based on the amount of resource we want to put to that sector. And it's only when we do that that we can in fact play our own role at ensuring that the future of those children is guaranteed and we are not put, on the prior line. I said that you had the opportunity, you had the chance to change those narratives, you did not do anything, right? And I can assure you that this sector is something that I continue to hold very dear to my heart. I'm hoping that this sector will be one of the sectors that at the end of my 4-year tenure, all of you will truly be proud of.
We want our children to lead in the future. And we need to be sure that when all of us here are old, the next generation, that this country, this state will be in great hands.
As Lagos journeys towards a 21st century economy, it is expected that investment in education from basic to tertiary levels would go a long way to transform the education sector. It is also hoped that investment in human capital would speed up the journey to the greater Lagos as promised by Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu's administration.
A world of free entertainment awaits you. Anywhere, anytime, at the click of a button. A world where everyone is included. A world without subscriptions. A world where entertainment lives in your pocket, on your couch, and even in multiple places at once. This is a world of premium free. Why pay? Just watch.
Do you have continuity or association plan for your business?
Has anyone shared the concept of sustainability with you?
What about the need to protect the rights of minority shareholders?
What are those ingredients germane to having effective meetings?
For these and many more, tune into Corporate Governance Platform every Thursday on MITV, your darling station, on DSTV 255 and UHF 43 at 4:30 p.m.
Corporate Governance Platform is your best medium for informative and educative strategies for the practice of the corporate governance profession.
Institute of Chartered Secretaries and Administrators of Nigeria, ICSAN, the hub of governance professionals.
You must have the fear of God, because the fear of God is the beginning of wisdom. A man slapping the wife and asking the wife, get out, go to hell. If he has the fear of God, he should know slapping the wife is like slapping himself.
Somebody sees a thing, comes into a place, looks around and says, no. I mean, we should reorganize things. Things are not moving well.
I say, shut up.
Man, you say, shut up. There's no opportunity for, how will they learn? Tomorrow, when they get into power, when those same youth get into power, they will not want to listen to anybody with a dissenting voice. Exactly. And that will be a conspiracy against progress.
Run away from bad companies. Bad companies ruins good morals. There are distractions that will not allow you to achieve the purpose that you intend to achieve.
Okay. No matter how much amount of money you have in the bank, I can tell you something, it can destroy the home if there's no time for each other.